Oh, man. Oh, man. Pro basketball today here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young. Oh, man. What an NBA Finals we are having. What a postseason it has been. What a game it was. 107 to 106. The New York Knicks complete the biggest comeback in the history of the NBA Finals. OG Anunoby with the, two-play sequence of a lifetime. The block on De'Aaron Fox. The tip in to give the Knicks the lead. The Garden was shaking. The series lead is 3-1. Coach, how are you? I mean, there's just a billion things to get. Wemby struggles. Mitch Johnson's not sure what's going on. De'Aaron Fox's decisions. OG's clutchness. Cat's foul trouble. Cat, Brunson, Jose Alvarado. I mean, how are you doing, Coach?
It was like a 7-game series that happened within 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because there were so many emotions, Kevin, that went into the game, which, usually you would call game 5 the swing game, but in the way the series was going with the home team winning games 1, 2, and 3, it felt like game 4 was the swing game in regards to, will all the momentum go back to San Antonio, or will the Knicks retain home court going into Saturday night's game? And the way you kind of got into it was a San Antonio team really just came out punching. And we're going to have time to walk through it because there were heroes and there were zeros on both sides. And shout out, and I'm going to say this because I usually have felt for a while, Kevin, I don't know how much home court means. It meant something on Wednesday night.
Oh, yeah.
That crowd, I have never seen a crowd, especially in New York, stick with a team that was playing as hot garbage as the Knicks were. I mean, it was garbage. It was terrible. It was 81-52 in the third quarter. And it's like when Brunson hit that first three, the Knicks fans, it was like, it wasn't a sarcastic, like, yay, you scored. It was almost like, hey, come on, like, we got time. And I felt like the crowd lifted the Knicks lifted the crowd, and they kind of traded roles the entire second half. And they literally, each other willed that team to a victory.
Yeah, the crowd is a part of the story. I think it's a part of what makes it such a legendary moment. The camera shaking is just one of the coolest things we've seen. Like, it made Celebrity Row all feel worth it. The comeback was incredible, but to your point, Coach, like, the fact that the fans stayed with the Knicks during the run is because the Knicks have shown them over the last 2 years you should stick with us during any deficit. And what's so odd about that element of this Knicks team, they did it last postseason too. It's not even a Mike Brown thing. I'm not saying Mike Brown doesn't get credit. Mike Brown's going to get plenty of credit, I think, on this show and for the rest of his life. Okay? Barring a disaster, Mike Brown's going to coach the Knicks for like a decade. So Mike Brown's fine. But it's not a Mike Brown thing. Like, they completed 20-point comebacks under Tibbs somewhat regularly as well. It's incredibly impressive, the heart and fight that this team shows. And there were a lot of big shots made. And I know that the Spurs offensive struggles, a lot of people blame San Antonio. And again, of course. But to give up 41 in the first quarter, 35 in the second quarter, and 30 in the second half is just one of the most You will not see a single game defensive turnaround like that ever in your life. It's almost impossible, Coach.
Yeah, and listen, I'm going to say this. It takes two to tango. It does. And part of the reason why the Knicks were able to come back those two games against Boston, against San Antonio, is the three-point shot is the almighty equalizer, and it's the almighty destroyer, depending on which way you look at it. 14 for 26 for San Antonio in the first half. They were hitting everything. Kevin, you know this. You watch as much basketball as I am. That's not sustainable. It was early shots. It was quick shots. It was, it was so many things that San Antonio did wrong. And to me, their inexperience and their youth has been put on full display. You talk about having a team believe that they can come back. This may be too much for me, but I speak to the maturity of that roster, particularly those three Nova guys. 4-year guys.
Yeah.
Pat is 28, 29. OG's a veteran. These guys have been up the climb, had the comebacks, but remember, 16-point lead versus Indiana, they've blown it just as well. They've learned from their mistakes. San Antonio is getting like baptism by fire. Like it's happening in front of their eyes. And every time you're like, okay, they figured it out. Game 1, they messed up. Okay, they figured it out. Game 2, dumb decisions. Game 4, but then people forget the game 1 against Minnesota. They did the same thing. They make mistakes. And sometimes you don't have to be the better team. You got to be a team that's close enough that can out-execute the better team. And that's what the Knicks have been doing in this series.
Here's another thing that has gone wrong for the Spurs, and quite frankly, I don't care if people disagree, and I know the Spurs would attempt to disagree with this. They entered this series with a complete lack of respect for the Knicks, and maybe now that's turned around, but it certainly didn't turn around in time. They were under the impression, people said this, okay? Let's not, the NBA Finals were the Western Conference Finals, okay? They thought that. So when they beat the Thunder, they thought they won the title. And when they lost game 1, everyone was like, I don't even need to be good. I just got to be normal. It's like, what world are you living in? What are you talking about? They blow it. Game 2, right? And guys was like, we just gave the game away. It's like, oh, you know what? You're right, Steph. You're right. None of this has anything to do with the Knicks. Coach, you'll appreciate the comparison. John Calipari and the platoon squad Kentucky team. Still the best college team I've ever seen. Didn't win a national championship. The kids thinking they're invincible is acceptable. It's not acceptable when the coach thinks it. John Calipari thought they were invincible. He thought their opponents didn't matter. He made that clear in post-game press conferences after getting pushed by Notre Dame in the tournament. Mitch Johnson, it turns out, thought just like Wemby and just like Stephon Castle that the Knicks were an irrelevant party in this finals. Because otherwise, at some point, he would have turned this thing around and actually did a bit of coaching. But instead, he thought, you know what? I'll just throw Wemby in the game. That'll fix it. That's not coaching. How did Wemby play 44 minutes in a game you were up a gazillion and have no gas down the stretch? So it is a team who entered in with not false confidence, but unearned confidence. And it has cost them time and again in this series. And as 20 years from now, they will rewrite the story that, of course, the Knicks won this series. They were older, they were better, they were better.
Is there any digging out of this massive hole that...
All right, guys, pro basketball today on SportsGrid. Let's really zone in on what went wrong for the Spurs. And there are a lot of different people that we can point to who struggled. But I think it's important that we start with the quote-unquote best player in the world, Victor Wembanyama. We'll get to Fox. We'll get to Mitch Johnson, whoever you want, okay? But Victor Wembanyama is the earth, moon, and stars, right? So you tell me, Coach, where Wemby's performance over those 48 minutes of game landed for you.
You know, there's two ways to look at the Wemby thing. Number one, the flagrant foul. Listen, you can say what you want about Game 3 if you thought it was a flagrant foul. I thought it's a 1, definitely was not a 2. But when they did not give them the flagrant foul 1, they were going to watch Wemby like a hawk Game 4. And anything close, they were going to call it. So when the foul happened with Cat, this was different than him getting mixed up with Alvarado in Game 2. This is different than hitting Brunson in Game 3. He generally did not mean what to do what he did. Because he immediately went down and tried to touch Cat like, yo, my bad, my bad. But Wemby being 7'4", Kevin, he plays with the ball high. That's just, it's the old Mike Rice, take space or take your face. But sometimes he leads with the elbow and not with the ball, right? So that time he gets hit with it. That was the first thing that turned around, and that made Wemby change his game. Because his aggressiveness now was like, hey, if I get another one, right, I'm out next game. Not only that, if I get another one, I could be gone this game as well. So he changed his whole dynamic, not getting to the basket, rolling to the rim. Number 2, Mitch Johnson, who's going to get a ton of smoke in this show, and deservedly so. He showed how much he was panicking. Wemby typically takes a rest in the third quarter. About 5 minutes, 6 minutes in, they take him out, right, Kev? Put Luke Cornett in. They give him about a 4-minute breather. He gets the last minute of the third. He gets that 2.5-minute rest during the, obviously, change of quarter. And then he plays the majority of the fourth, maybe with a rest in the fourth as well. Kevin, he sat for 53 seconds. 53 seconds. With the Knicks still up by like 18, 19 points. So Mitch Johnson even said to you, uh-oh, this is going to be in trouble. But a guy that has never played a full season, and now he's playing a full season, and the playoffs, you're now expecting a guy that you should be playing 36, 37 minutes, and now you're expecting him to play 43 minutes.
Yeah.
How is this kid supposed to make it to the finish line, Kev? It's not possible. The kid's been sucking wind every game in this series in the fourth quarter. So you give him less rest? So, yeah, Wemby's elbow, yes, but Mitch Johnson's got to take a big blame for this, for how he subbed him in the third quarter.
I really do think, and Coach and I spoke a little bit the other day. If you said, hey, we're not passing blame, who gets the most? I think Mitch Johnson is my answer. However, Victor Wembanyama is actually in a class that we've attempted to put other guys in that weren't really it. And I'm going to go, let's not just go with the recent examples, okay? Victor Wembanyama is not just in a conversation, okay, to me that Shea or Jokic or Giannis didn't get into. Victor Wembanyama is on a trajectory that Steph Curry and Kevin Durant also never got in. It is very, very clear that Victor Wembanyama, after all this wondering, is the heir apparent to LeBron James. And if I'm saying that, that means something. But it's true. It really is. When shows following a New York Knicks finals victory lead with, what'd you make of Wemby's game? You're the guy.
at 22. And I am very okay with the struggles and low points of Victor Wembanyama leading the conversation, because that's what matters most. Because that's what happens when, at this point in Wemby's career, not being one of the 10 greatest players of all time would feel like a disaster. Okay? So we're allowed to hold you to a standard that Steph couldn't handle, Giannis couldn't handle, Jokic couldn't handle, Wemby can. And Wemby has been a nightmare in trying to close out these finals games. Moments you won't forget: the turnover, the missed jumper, the missed free throws. You will remember those moments. And it is absolutely true that age 28 Victor Wembanyama, coach, if he were playing in this series instead of age 22, Spurs might sweep. That's not Knicks slander. That's what we expect out of Victor Wembanyama. He's not there yet. He's learning. That's the beauty of this sport. However, because it's the LeBron James thing, I'm going to do this. Losing on the finals stage is a privilege, an honor, and an accomplishment. And what we are not going to do again is the stupid, garbage Michael Jordan crap that we did with LeBron, where we pretend it would have been better for Vic to lose to the Thunder. Because guess what? Wemby's going to start his finals career 0-1. And a lot of idiots would tell you, well, that gets him out of the GOAT converse. Oh, so he should have lost to the Thunder. I heard Wemby's not the best player in the world. It's vacant. What does that mean? Someone's the best player in the world. It's still this kid. He's struggling. He is absolutely struggling to close. He also, on his worst day, is Rudy Gobert, who is a record-winning defensive player of the year type talent. We'll get more into that, of course, right here on Sports. The NBA Finals when it's good, man, it gets you fired up in a way that you just have to love. So I just wanted to ask you, Coach, okay? Do you think I am being fair, unfair, too easy on what I'm saying he's having struggles, but I'm just seeing people. The thing that you and I have talked about this, we've joked about this, we've debated about this, right? Where it's like, oh, LeBron in his career would have been better off losing earlier in the postseason. Like, I am seeing Wemby still be a defensive monster and lead his team in scoring by a lot. And people are like, oof, I'm lower on Wembenyama. Like, I can't believe that, Coach, but maybe that's how you feel.
No, listen, he's struggling in regards to the scoring, but the impact that he's had in his game, it's been immense. The Knicks are throwing everything at him, and sometimes throwing him too. So I mean, they're doing what they need to do, and Wemby is struggling in regards to. I don't think he's getting the right kind of rest, particularly in Game 4. But you've seen it for 4 games, Kevin. Every time the Knicks drive the ball to the basket, where did he go? Where did he go? Where is he? And then they see him at the basket and they circle and dribble out. That's effectiveness. Listen, I am of the mindset of, Kevin and I are a little bit different. Like, I think Michael Jordan is to GOAT. But, although I hate the debate, I think it's one of the hardest debates I have in all sports, because you're comparing different eras and styles of play.
Yeah.
But anyone that sat there and telling me that it would be better for him to lose to the Thunder to learn how to. No, get to the damn finals. That's the goal. Get
Thank
there.
you.
Make yourself an appearance.
Yeah.
And listen, and hey, not for nothing, LeBron went to the finals first time he got swept. He turned out to be pretty okay, folks. So don't tell me that. So I don't need this like, oh, well, first time Jordan got to the final. Jordan also got to the final first year, like year 8. All right? Not year 2. The only guys you look at that got to the finals in like year 1 or year 2 are like Magic, Bird, LeBron pretty early on. It's very rare select territory where arguably the best player in that generation is getting to the finals so young. Let's enjoy this. And Kevin's right. Before we get to Fox, y'all better get Wemby now. And I'm a Knicks fan. Get him now.
Love that.
Because that run is coming. And listen, it's coming. It's coming so much that Oklahoma City's like, damn, we may have to make some moves because we don't know if we can beat this cat the next 6, 7, 8 years. With Fox, who I think you need to get rid of, with Vassell, with Castle, with Harper, with Champagny, with that team.
Yeah.
Get Wemby now, because in like 2, 3 years, you ain't gonna be able to touch the kid. Not at all.
Listen, man, it's so, when the Spurs swept LeBron, again, swept Tim Duncan, who played another decade in the NBA and won at least another championship, if not multiple championships from that moment on, said, oh yeah, it's his league. Because you could see it. You could see it. And I think part of Pop's undying respect for LeBron started in that finals. So, Coach, I think you are we expect Victor Wemby, and maybe he won't. Listen, sports are crazy, but we expect Wemby to get back here many, many times. And that's awesome. I think that's fantastic. I think that's what this sport is about. And also, in getting here, they did something that might be super important. Exposing De'Aaron Fox as a liability, one of the worst contracts in basketball, and certainly someone that the San Antonio Spurs need to get rid of. Let me be honest, folks. All right? Here's the deal with De'Aaron Fox. He is good, but he immediately became redundant to the Spurs when they were given the 2nd overall pick this past draft. Now, Harper needed a chance to come along, maybe, or he would have won Rookie of the Year if he was able to start. But we are now, without a shadow of a doubt, in a situation where the highest paid player on the Spurs absolutely, unequivocally cannot be a starter on this team entering next season. That has to change. But, because we're about to hit a break, I wonder if Coach James Young thinks Coach Mitch Johnson should be ready to make a change now. We'll talk about that next.
The talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time and he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get him. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get him, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
All right, now listen, as someone who doesn't quite like plus minus, if De'Aaron Fox were to say, hey, I was a +1, he would kind of have me dead to rights for a second. Coach, here's the deal, okay? De'Aaron Fox tricked the Spurs into trading for him because nobody else wanted to go there, and he got in on the ground floor of Victor Wembanyama. But De'Aaron Fox has become really a bit of an albatross for the Spurs in that De'Aaron Fox is still at times playing like he's the reigning clutch player of the year next to a bunch of rookies. And that's not really what's going on. De'Aaron Fox has largely been unclutch, inefficient, and not the guy who should have the ball down the stretch. And yet it keeps finding his hands. I understand there's a willingness that is necessary in moments like this, but Fox is far, far too willing down the stretch. So, Coach, I know you want to talk about his decision-making, but I do also want you to, after that, tell me if you really think Mitch Johnson would be crazy to put Dylan Harper in the starting lineup, and would you put him in the starting lineup for De'Aaron Fox?
You know, it's amazing, Kevin. When they traded for De'Aaron Fox, and you and I did the draft last year, we're like, there's nowhere to taking Dylan Harper. They already got De'Aaron Fox. What do you need this kid for? So they go and draft him. And Dylan Harper has been, in my eyes, the best guard on the San Antonio Spurs. And, ready for this, the best player for the San Antonio Spurs in game number 4.
Okay.
Took 2 shots in the fourth quarter. 2. One of them was a deep 3. The other one he scored in the paint. So when you look at De'Aaron Fox, you're saying to yourself, we got De'Aaron Fox because De'Aaron Fox is a veteran. De'Aaron Fox has 7 career playoff games before this year. 7! And you know what happened in game 7? Steph gave him 50 on his home floor. Thank you very much. And he was guarding Steph. So you're sitting there telling me that you got the adult in the room? Do you know what the adult in the room is? It's Harrison Barnes, who does not play at all. Which is still, I find to be like, when that lead was dwindling in the third, fourth quarter, and they were throwing out De'Aaron Fox out there, they should have put Harrison Barnes in there just to get an adult in the room, just to get them to calm down and not take bad shot after bad shot. So when you get to De'Aaron Fox, you know, the decision making in regards to that layup at the end. De'Aaron Fox is supposedly the fastest guy in the NBA, and he got chased down with a guy that pulled a hamstring 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, OG Anunoby pulled his hamstring, and he ran him down. I mean, he ran him down. I also think this, Kev, the adult in the room, De'Aaron Fox, I think he was scared. I don't think he wanted to go to the foul line and shoot the free throws. He said, let me shoot this layup, let me get us up 3. Instead of wheeling it out, getting fouled, and going to the foul line. Because you just saw Wemby miss 2 earlier.
Can I just... So I think that's interesting. I honestly... if that were true, I'd feel better about what happened, but I don't even think that's true. I actually think he tried to lean into OG and get contact, and that's what allowed OG to block the shot. I think he lost his mind.
It was terrible.
I think he lost his mind.
But he did, because if you're going to go into OG, Kev, you go in left, right, not off your left foot. You go off for 2 feet. You jump stop because you know the OG's going to go for the block.
It was a disaster.
To the foul line. Right,
yeah, it was a disaster.
So let's get to because I know we have to talk about the Knicks. Let's get to this part with De'Aaron Fox. I had Rick Kamler on my show, the Coach's Edge with JY, yesterday, and he brought up something that I think Kev's going to agree with, and I'm going to agree with. I don't think a lot of people are going to disagree with us. I don't think he should start. I don't. And if he's going to start, he certainly as hell can't finish. Here's the other reason. That whole end of play with Brunson and Anunoby, that's De'Aaron Fox's fault. You know why, folks? Because when he came off of that and he went to Wemby, and Wemby picked up Brunson, you figure what Brunson may try a walk down 3, which he did because Wemby's so tall and he's not going to take him to the basket. But De'Aaron Fox was not even near Brunson. That's a switch. Switch to OG. We all know the most dangerous guy on an out-of-bounds situation is the guy that takes it out. You watch Fox. He is in no man's land. And by the time he turns, he knows he's screwed, and he doesn't even try to walk to try and get back into the play. He just turned and looked. Wemby ran past him to try at least try to get into the lane. De'Aaron Fox has been an absolute disaster for this team in big spots. He's a good player. I'm not knocking him as a player. He's a damn good player. For what this team needs right now and moving forward, they can't get this guy off the roster fast enough, and his extension starts next year.
Which is tough. The biggest reason I think starting Harper for Fox is a no-brainer is you're going to do it next year anyway. Because you could worry, Coach, about like the dynamic. How do we come back from this? Like, how do you come back from this? Again, unless they're lying to themselves that Dylan Harper is not going to start for. We are at a point where Harper versus Fox isn't a conversation, and the conversation is Harper versus Castle, and that may not be a conversation for the second best guy on the Spurs entering next season. Like, I wouldn't be entirely surprised if, when various publications list their top 100 players in the NBA, if Harper were the second Spur, not Stephon Castle. And it certainly won't be De'Aaron Fox. So you're down 3-1. You're allowed to try some things. So I think the Spurs would certainly... The only thing, I guess, the counter would be, why would I change my starting lineup when we win every first quarter? And, again, at that point, maybe Mitch Johnson would have me dead to rights, but, future's the future, brother. And Dylan Harper has been the guy. Now, there's a whole bunch of elements of the Knicks that deserve praise and smiles, but the finals MVP stuff, admittedly, is driving old KW a bit nuts. And I'm not saying I don't get it, in that, like, I don't understand, but it doesn't mean I'm not angry about it. Guys, I understand that every Knicks fan in the world loves Jalen Brunson. You should. You should. He signifies the turning around of your franchise. He has been your lead dog through this run. He won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He has not been the best Knick in this series. He has not been close to the best Knick in this series. He has not been the second best Knick in this series. Jalen Brunson, scoring a lot of fourth quarter points, sounds good until you realize he takes every fourth quarter shot. This is, and I know that no one, this is me maybe being mean. I keep being told how clutch Jalen Brunson is. OG scored off a Brunson pass or a Brunson miss? Miss. The possession before the Fox leak out was a turnover or a Brunson miss? It was a miss. Now, he, of course, makes big shots in the fourth quarter. When you are down $1 billion, every shot is big in terms of cutting that away. Averaging nearly 30 is, of course, impressive. It's less impressive when you're shooting under 40%. It is. It absolutely is. When you're turning it over nearly as much as you're assisting, that's an issue as a point guard. We're going to get Coach's thoughts on the Finals MVP debate next. All right, Pro Basketball Today. We're right back here on SportsGrid. Coach, the Finals MVP debate is alive and well. It is, though, through the odds, no longer between Brunson and Towns. It seemingly is between Brunson and OG. Do you agree that the debate should be between Brunson and OG?
Yes, it should be, because the referees tried to foul Karl Anthony Towns in the first minute of one of the last two games. And to me, it is a two-person race. And I think the race, I understand why Brunson is the favorite, because he's the media darling. He's the best player. He's the savior. He's the Mark Messier of the New York Knicks fan base. I get it. But if you really dig deeper, I was just thinking about this. Like, even when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup, he didn't win Conn Smythe. It was Brian Leetch. The best player for the Knicks in this round, has been OG Anunoby. His shooting splits are through the his shooting splits are like NBA 2K26 playing on amateur mode. Like that's how hot the guy is. Like over 50% from three, and 33 points last game, and the two signature moments that, forget the tip-in. If he doesn't get the block, they don't even get the chance to do the tip-in. So, I think Brunson gets the narrative because it is, who he is, and his big shots, game one, whatever, game two. Yes, I get it. But if you talk about the totality of this series, both ends of the floor, and the true shooting percentage and effective field goal percentage that he has versus Jalen Brunson, to me, personally, it is OG, and I still think there's a pathway for him to win it, because San Antonio is not going to change what they're going to do. They're going to be aggressive with Brunson. He's going to shoot poorly. He's going to throw the ball around the gym. Maybe he wins you some shots late, maybe, but the old reliable OG Anunoby right now is my pick to be the MVP of the NBA Finals.
So I want to, again, like the Brunson stuff is bothering me. I'm not hiding it. We're all watching the games. Like, I know we are all watching the games. And yes, Brunson is hitting big shots. You have to get there, though, right? Like, the comparison I will continue to make is Mariano Rivera. Mo is, the best closer baseball's ever seen. I've never once heard someone ask, hey, is Mariano Rivera the best pitcher of all time? Right? Mariano Rivera didn't stock up a bunch of Cy Youngs. You have to get there, okay? It's why Mason Miller was pitching to a .004 ERA and not really in the Cy Young race. Because Chris Sanchez and Jacob Mizorowski are lighting the world on fire, going 6, 7, 8 innings. I appreciate that Brunson can be relied upon in the clutch, despite the fact that he split a pair of free throws, which nearly cost them game 2, and the fact that he missed 2 game-winning opportunities in game 4, but nobody cares about that. He doesn't belong in this conversation. I'm sorry, he does not. The OG Anunoby is incredibly cut and dry. No one has had a more efficient 20-plus point per game scoring finals ever. It shouldn't even be possible what he's doing. His true shooting percentage, 78%. What? That's what? That's insane. That's out of this world. 58, 56, 92. While being an incredible defensive player. So OG is, of course, think worthy. But I guess I'll be the last person screaming. I understand that 16, 11, and 3 isn't going to do it for a lot of people. Cat got 2 foul troubles. Cat got 2 fouls. The Knicks looked like they might as well turn the game off. It's crazy. I know that sounds crazy.
Here's something that sounds crazy but isn't. If you said, hey, Knicks, you have to play a game in this series, in this matchup, with Jose and Cat or Brunson and Mitch Rob, which one will be more successful? It's Jose and Cat. Mitch Rob cannot play in this series. And that's before the fact that he actually, most of the time, literally can't play because when Cat's trying to get rest, they're in the bonus, so Mitch Rob has to come out. That's aside from the fact that Mitch Rob is the first person to ever chin check someone and get laughed at. That's a whole nother element. Karl Anthony Towns finished plus 17 in a 1-point victory. And it's not the first time that he's had a double-digit plus minus in a 1-point victory in this series. If he's on the court, the Knicks win. If he's not on the court, he's a plus 48. The Knicks are a plus 16 for the series. Again, OG to me actually feels like he should be the betting favorite. I think the odds makers are wrong. But to me, the debate should be Towns and OG. Like, we understand what value means, don't we? Like Jay-Wade, tell me if I'm being insane, but I really don't think I am, although I feel it kind of.
Yeah, because you're talking about most valuable. Most valuable.
Yeah.
Not only most valuable, most important. And I think that's the thing. If Mitch stays out of foul, if Cat stays out of foul trouble game 5, it's over. It's over. It's over. That's why everybody panicked when Cat got 2 fouls early on. Because when Cat gets in foul trouble, we know the Knicks are a different team. This is not a disrespect of Jalen Brunson. I want people to understand that. I love Jalen Brunson. I'm thankful for Jalen Brunson. I think he's fantastic. But to me, he has not been the best player in the series, nor has he been the most important player in the series.
You know what? Maybe I'll try saying that to people and not get screamed at. Because I think that works for everybody. Like that.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Terrible start last year, injured all the way through, didn't have a chance to win that Major League Baseball season. This year, first team to 20 wins, first team to 30 wins, first team to 40 wins. It's all been the Atlanta Braves. Good baseball club lurking around here.
They still have some guys, some starting pitchers on the shelf there that could help them down the road, but the Braves are sitting pretty right now.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
That's for Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time? And he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Well, the talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, before we get to game 5, we've kind of, I feel like, talked about everybody, maybe but Mike Brown, coach, take it away.
Yeah, I just think Mike Brown deserves his flowers. And the reason why Kevin and I were pro Mike Brown when he got hired is his offensive approach and change, but also his ability to willing to play anybody. Folks, he played 12 people in the first half in game number 4. He searched, and he kept searching. And then for some reason, with about 8-9 minutes left, when Bridges couldn't do anything, Shamet couldn't make a shot, Deuce is taking bad shot after bad shot, he looks down and says, yo, homeboy from Queens, not Kevin Walsh, but Jose Alvarado.
Thank you.
Why don't you check in the game? The second best player to come out of Queens besides Kevin Walsh, Jose Alvarado, College Sports. Although there's also Chris Mullen, but there's other guys. But we'll talk about that another
Yeah, Meta World Peace.
Meta World. But Queensbridge, stand up. But anyway, putting Jose Alvarado, a guy that had not played 1 minute of basketball with Jalen Brunson in the entire season, not series, not playoffs, season. Stroke of genius. A guy that kept pushing buttons till something worked. I just wanted to make sure we gave Mike Brown his flowers because he does deserve it, because he has been the biggest reason. You can talk about the play. Him, his coaching, and his adjustments have been the biggest reason why the Knicks are up 3-1, just like Mitch Johnson is the biggest reason why San Antonio's in a 1-3 hole.
I'll tell you what, he's got his hands full going into game 5. Yeah. Because it's one of the this will sound stupid, but I'm okay with it because I mean it. If the Knicks lose by 40, I won't blame them. I thought there was going to be champagne at the post-game press conference following game 4. Like that, it just felt like they won the title. Like it was a euphoric win like few others. But they have to get up here for a game 5 and attempt to close it out, Coach. So what are you focused on? Any early action for you?
No, the thing I'm really focused on is the distribution of minutes of San Antonio. I want to see them actually go to Harper early and often. And also give Devin Vassell going more in the second half. Devin Vassell was outstanding in the first half. They just kind of didn't find the ball. So for them, I'm looking for those two guys. For the Knicks, I am looking at a guy that has not played well for a couple of games in a row, and that's Mikal Bridges. I think you'll get performances by some of the others. If I'm San Antonio, I'm going to send double teams at Brunson to get it out of his hands. I'm going to load up on OG because he shoots a 3. I have to watch Cat. That means there's two guys you have to look at, Hart and Bridges. Hart's going to be in the dunker spot. I think you loop in Mikal Bridges. You saw that at the end of game 2 when he got fouled by Fox, right? He hit those two at the end of game 1 when he got fouled. Look for Bridges to kind of live in that mid-range game. He's going to be an important factor for the Knicks if they try and win this title on Saturday night.
Yeah, one guy I'm actually looking for, and I don't know, sometimes the way series go, we lose props on players because they struggle or whatever it might be. But I'm pretty sure we're going to get almost, pick 'em on will Deuce McBride make a 3? And I don't think we're going to get a ton of Deuce McBride minutes unless there's a blowout either direction. But Deuce is going to put him up. And I know Deuce is, 0 for 6 from 3, 0 for 6 from the field in the last 2 games. If you tell me Deuce McBride takes 1 3, I'll take my chances he makes it in game 5. Like, that's something, Coach, I'm actually really eyeing up here. Have you been, surprised? I mean, it's worked with just like some of the way the bench is flowing right now for the Knicks. Like Shamet all of a sudden was feeling like a starter level importance, and I feel like got really, peeled back a little bit in game 5. Obviously, we know what Deuce has been here. Like, I do think how the Knicks bench plays in game 5 is a really interesting story for me.
Yes, because I think if you try and do it, you're going to be in a highly competitive environment. So you're going to have to use your bench to maintain and keep leads. They kind of happened in the end of, I think, game number 2, where Cat and Brunson went to the bench and the Knicks kept and extended that lead. If the bench can step up and play well, they had in the last 2 in MSG, that could be a recipe for the Knicks to go ahead and win the title.
Also, just quickly for the San Antonio Spurs, all eyes, of course, will be on Victor Wembanyama. Points, rebounds, assists, 43.5. Is there a aspect of this game, Coach, that you think is most important for Wemby?
Yeah, I think I'm going to get going early. Look at his first quarter points, trying to dominate the game early, get Cat in foul trouble, and attack Mitchell Robinson.
I think the scoring is always really, really important for Wemby. But I do think one of the things for the Spurs and the reason why they have been able to, in striking distance in every single game, right? These Knicks Avalanche blowouts we've not seen in this series, the defensive side of the ball. I think it's important that that effort, energy is still there for the Spurs. Cannot wait to watch it play out. For Coach James Young, Kevin Walsh, Pro Basketball Today. Oh, man. Oh, man. Pro Basketball Today here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young. Oh, man. What an NBA Finals we are having. What a postseason it has been. What a game it was. 107 to 106. The New York Knicks complete the biggest comeback in the history of the NBA Finals. OG Anunoby with the, two-play sequence of a lifetime. The block on De'Aaron Fox. The tip in to give the Knicks the lead. The Garden was shaking. The series lead is 3-1. Coach, how are you? I mean, there's just a billion things to get. Wemby struggles. Mitch Johnson's not sure what's going on. De'Aaron Fox's decisions. OG's clutchness. Cat's foul trouble. Cat, Brunson, Jose Alvarado. I mean, how are you doing, Coach?
It was like a 7-game series that happened within 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because there were so many emotions, Kevin, that went into the game, which usually you would call game 5 the swing game, but in the way the series was going with the home team winning games 1, 2, and 3, it felt like game 4 was the swing game in regards to, will all the momentum go back to San Antonio, or will the Knicks retain home court going into Saturday night's game. And the way you kind of got into it was a San Antonio team really just came out punching.